What do you think that was? There's a strange sound outside this booth.
This booth.
I don't know what it was.
What are you doing?
Making it bigger because you can't see.
I am blind.
Whatever. Okay.
It's fine.
I'm like somebody just yelled hello.
Did you think a person was out there?
No, it's not. I mean, it sounded like it was next door, but still. Okay. All right. Welcome everyone to our first podcast of 2023. It's going to launch on the 1st.
Yep. Okay, I'm not ready to start. That can't be the opening. Okay. I'm falling off my pillows.
All right. Welcome everybody to our first podcast of 2023.
Crazy.
I mean, we're technically, I guess, recording this in 2022.
I know, I just looked at you like, wait, you have the year wrong. But you don't.
But I do.
It's going to air in the new year.
It's going to air on the 1st. And
I'm feeling really relaxed, from this week.
I can tell.
The week between Christmas and New Year's, really.
Many of us are feeling relaxed. I mean, like many people, we are going to do a year in review, but and look ahead to next year, but we wanted to do it in hopefully a slightly different way where we're just not like glamorizing all of the things that happened this past year, but also talking about like essentially what sacrifices we both and everyone had to make in order to have the things that we do. Because we were talking about this, like planning for this podcast in the sense of like, there's so many parallels between business and parenting.
So many. I mean, even just laying out, I was like, okay, let me think about what we did last year.
Yeah.
So I broke it down by month, January through December, and wrote out everything that we accomplished, all these people that joined our team.
Right.
And I looked at you and was like, it's very impressive.
Right.
But it's very glamorous looking.
Right.
It's like a beautiful Instagram picture, like the resume, what we did all year. And then we had a moment where we're like, that is really great, but God, it was so fucking hard. Yeah. Last year was really hard.
Yeah, it was really hard.
And this makes it look like it was all rainbows and unicorns.
Yeah. I mean, I think like, I love the comparison between like Instagram and this is that like, we want to go through what went on this past year. But yeah, like if we just told you about our successes, we are no different than the parent who posts on Instagram the perfectly cropped picture of, them Christmas out
card.
With their newborn. And I mean,
in a field,
with their hair done or out to coffee with their friends or, posting the one night that their kids slept really well. And you see that, whether it's somebody you know or somebody you don't know or just somebody you follow. And if that's not happening for you, then you all of a sudden like
spiral.
Yeah. Or start judging yourself or whatever feelings come up. Like for some people, it's just this quick feeling of like, that must be nice that that's happening for them.
Yep.
And for other people, like it can really then end up in the spiral. And so I think we refuse to do that in our business in terms of how we relate to and talk to all of you. And like, why would we be any different in how we talk about our business too and our successes and stuff. So anyway, that's sort of like the preview to our year in review, which I hope that this actually like resonates with a lot of people, whether you're just a parent and you're trying to figure out this parenting thing, or you're somebody who is a parent and working, or who is a parent and running their own business, or maybe even just somebody who's running their own business. There's sort of a lot of different, I don't know, I feel like takeaways from this past year. But where would you like to start, Em?
I don't even know. I feel like we should just run through the year with everybody now knowing the context that it's going to sound really awesome. Because it is too, right? I feel like back to like relating it to parenting, you and me have been doing naps alone for a really long time.
Right.
And last year in particular, our team grew pretty significantly.
Yeah.
And it's almost like we had to widen our network, which is just like what you have to do when you bring a baby home, right? So like you bring your newborn home and you're like, who's going to come in and help? Who's going to be like my trusted resources, people that I can call and ask questions to? And it's kind of scary to decide who those people are going to be.
Yep.
And you don't want to like make it too big at once. You want to like slowly bring in the right people that can actually help you.
Yep.
And I feel like that's kind of what we did.
Yeah. Yeah.
We opened our network and we brought more people in, but
right.
it had to be the right people too.
Right. And just like in parenting, if we hadn't done that, or you don't do that as a parent,
right,
that suffering is a lot harder than the suffering that you have to go through in the transition of asking for and accepting help.
Totally.
What I will say, because this actually technically happened like prior to the beginning of 2022, the end of 2021 was when you were pregnant, went out on your maternity leave. That was a huge transition. What came out of that, then that was really hard, and we'll talk about all of that and why. But what came out of that really difficult transition was that it forced us to hire a COO.
Yeah.
And I think that was the catalyst to all the changes that we made.
Yeah. Definitely.
And was truly one of the best changes that we made in order to take our business to the next level. So anyway, so January started, and that's when you came back from maternity.
I literally had my first day back at work in, I don't know, was it mid-January?
Mid-January, yeah.
I wanted to come back a little sooner, but Eloise wasn't sleeping through the night yet. So I did a week of, we did all get COVID. I forgot about that. I was supposed to come back and my whole family got COVID. And then I waited it was like she was 13 weeks old and I was like, we're going to do sleep training. So she's sleeping through the night.
Yeah.
Go back to work.
Yeah.
But when I came into my first week back at work, it wasn't just me coming back from maternity leave. This whole company was so different.
Yeah. Yes.
A lot had changed just while I was gone.
Yeah, I do want to clarify all of the changes that we made. I talked to Emily about and ran by her while she was
I knew. I just wasn't living it.
No, you were living it. But I just wanted to make sure
Jamie spent all the money while I was out, and she got a new car and a new jewelry, and
I wish that's what I said.
Dined out every day, hit the spa.
Yep, that's exactly what I spent all of our money on. So Emily came back to our COO, Chelsea, who was still obviously was still here.
Chelsea.
No, I know you had only been on for like 2 or 3,
and then she left.
She had started.
I mean, I left.
Yeah, she had started like 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. I think it was only 2 weeks before you went out.
Right. And when I went out, Kate, our executive assistant who manages all of our clients, was also out on maternity leave.
Sure was. We went from a 3-person business to a 5-person business before Emily went out on leave, because we were like a 5-person business for a hot second.
Yep.
Then you went out on leave. Then Kate went out on leave. Then you went out on leave.
Yep.
But we had hired somebody to take over Kate's job while she was out on maternity leave.
A lot of transition.
So we went from a 3-person team to a 5-person team to a 4-person team back to a 3-person team, and the new 3-person team. The only person who had been here for longer than 3 months was me.
Yeah. It's really fun.
But anyway, then Kate had already come back from her maternity leave before you came back.
Yeah.
So Kate was already back. The person who we had hired, Gabby, to take over her job stayed on.
We convinced her to stay.
Yeah. So Kate grew in her role. Chelsea
we had hired Ellen, our pediatric nurse practitioner, and she decided to stay on.
Yep. She decided to stay on.
Yep.
And we had somebody who we were contracting out for like partnerships and corporate stuff, Hannah. And we convinced her to come on as a full-time employee as well.
Yeah.
So Emily came back
we'll suck you in. If you come in to dabble in something with us, we'll probably suck you in all the way.
So Emily came back to me, Chelsea,
it was
Hannah,
loud
Gabby,
and crowded. I was like, where do I sit?
Oh my God, you back to a 5-person team, and then you came back to a 6.
We didn't even have places for people to sit though. Like you had to order tables.
Yeah, order table. No, we have places.
Tables and computers. You got the fancy computers.
Fancy computers.
Yeah, desktops.
This is
we used to work on the floor, just to clarify. When we had our old office, we used to sit at children's art tables on the floor in the basement.
Yeah.
Okay.
So sure, I had some tables and chairs
so that everybody like an office.
So everybody had desks. But when Emily came back, we were now 6 people. So in a span of 6 months, we doubled.
Yeah.
In size, in employees.
Yep. We kept going.
And then we kept going. Yeah. Like the app was in progress. Sort of. Yeah. Like we had the design and everything. We were trying to find a development team. We finally found a development team. So like that development still got started. It's still not complete. So it's been
a year.
I mean, it's been well over a year. We started the design process in August of 2021.
Oh my God.
So it's been well over a year. That should wrap up in January of this coming year, 2023. But that was in progress. I, to this day still, with all the hires that we made, with the development of the app, with, what we're spending on contractors and ad spend and all of that. Mm-hmm. I do think that it's like an important piece to note that like we are self-funded and we haven't taken any money from any investors, any outside money. All of this has been possible because of what we have created with the core of our business.
Yeah.
And that is great in so many ways for so many reasons. The obvious reason being that like we at Naps own 100% of the company, and that's really awesome. But you can see why then like this year
makes it really hard. Because if we want to take on a project, we're like, we
either need to bring in more money, right? We either need to bring in more money or get creative with the money that we have and reallocate funds. Like there's a lot of these little decisions every day that we're making that are really stressful.
Oh yeah.
But it used to stress me out a lot more than it does now, because now, one, I feel like I can see the light at the end of the tunnel in terms of like where this is going to end up. Because the app's almost done, really, because that's been our biggest expense this year. And two, that I've shifted my mindset around it in the sense of like, it's cool to be in a position to have to make these really tough decisions because of the effort that you and I have put into keeping it ours and not taking outside money. Yep. Like that actually feels like something that I'm really proud of.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And not in a way where we're martyrs and we don't like ask for help or outsource things.
Right.
We've just been really strategic about where we spend our money and where we outsource things. Mm-hmm. And it is like, I'm going to keep bringing this back to parenting. Like it is like when you do finally find the people who can actually help you. Like when you find the really great nanny or childcare provider, when you find like a great school for your kid, when you finally figure out like why your baby has been so fucking miserable. It's been because of an allergy and not because of anything that you're doing wrong. Like it really is like, it is that it's the figuring out piece of business, of parenting, where it's like, okay, like I actually know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And know that I can make really good decisions and know that I'm not fucking crazy. And we can move the needle forward. And I think we have those moments in business and in parenting all the time.
I do think too, we still fuck up all the time. But the difference is we don't get weighed down about it. We just have to keep moving forward. Like, so we're like, all right, that didn't work. We'll try something. Back to the drawing board, right? We'll try again. Yeah. And that is almost like having multiple kids, right? Like when I had my first baby, same with you. If you fucked up or didn't do something the way you thought you were supposed to do it, you spend a lot of time and energy on that part that has already passed, like thinking about it, how you could have done it differently. Like, why didn't I do it this way? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it doesn't matter. It's just a new day, start over again, right? It's like when people write to us on the membership that they had a bad night last night. I'm like, yeah, you did. It sounds like it was a horrible night, actually. It was a shit night, but it was just one night. We're moving on today. New day, let's start over. And we just try again.
I am all for reflecting back on scenarios and having that conversation around like, okay, was this just like a bad decision or a bad night or a bad moment?
Right.
Or is this something that has happened more than once? And like, there is a pattern to it, or there is something that needs to change.
Yeah.
And thinking about it in a way of like, okay, so that didn't go well. And it's the non-judgment piece, right? It's looking at it through the lens of like not judging yourself or your business or your parenting or whatever. It's this reflection piece of like, okay, that didn't go so well. Was it a one-time thing? Or is there actually something to learn here? Like what could we have done, or what could I have done to make it better?
And when we do it again, what can we do differently?
Right. And if it happens again, what could we do differently to make it better, or for it to feel less challenging? Right. But we also do the same thing, and I don't do this so much in parenting, and I probably should, but we also do the same thing when things go well. Like that event, like the safety event this year went really well.
Yep.
And then it was like, okay, that went really well. Why did it go so well?
But I'm just like,
and then how can we make it even better next time?
Other people on our team like got us to do that kind of stuff. We there are certain things that we just like never did because it was just the two of us. We just keep plugging forward, and somebody was like, let's actually just call out the things that went really well. And I was like, oh, that sounds fun. I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't like ever spend in life as equal time. We need to do equal time on the good stuff versus the bad.
Yeah. Totally agree with you. So if there ever is a scenario where you're looking back on it not going so well, it could have just been because it was shit luck and it just didn't go well. Or it could be because like, all right, there is something here that we can reflect on. Is there something that we could do better? Why didn't it go so well? Is there something that we can do better? And then plan for next time. But then that's it, right? Like this piece that you were just talking about like the ruminating and spiraling, like, no, like we're not doing that.
I like a good spiral. Once a month, I like a good spiral, you know?
In your personal life or professional life?
Anytime. Like, it doesn't matter. It could be
We've gotten really good about not spiraling in business.
Yeah. Anymore. Just like maybe once a month, though.
Yeah.
Do a good spiral.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
Just get it out of your system. It's like a cleanse.
Just throwing that out there
a spiral
for anybody
cleanse.
that feels me on that.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, the next day.
Good. Yeah. All right. Let's see if we can get back on track here.
More people. We got to keep going, right? So now we're in the spring.
Yeah.
And we had this awesome woman, Mackenzie in LA, helping us with digital assets. We were like, hey, do you want to come on and manage social media and help us there? You found this awesome branding agency, Martian Arts. They're amazing.
There's one of my favorite things in business is connecting to other business owners who are really good at what they do. And are really good fucking people.
Yeah.
And like Martian Arts is so good at what they do. They redid all of our branding. This is another piece where it's like, look at what we've done. And there are things in the past where I would have really like gotten stuck on the fact that like all of our branding hasn't changed. And it like we have our new branding. We thought the app was going to be done a lot sooner than it was.
It's like a mixture.
Not. And we just have a mixture of brands right now. And like that is something that 2 years ago would have drove me fucking insane.
Well, when you come onto Naps, it's like a choose your own adventure. Literally, are you pregnant? Or you have a baby? And also with branding, it's a choose your own adventure.
Totally.
You could be on a page of new branding. You could be on a page of old branding.
I see an old logo.
Yeah, it's just an adventure.
But that is just something like 2 years ago,
that would have kept you up all night.
I just would have spent hours trying to fix every single thing.
Or if one color was off.
And what a waste of time that would have been. And that was.
So I don't even notice, which is the
I know.
This is why we balance each other out. But did you notice that font is not the same font as that font? And I'm like, what fonts are we talking about?
There are still
certain things
that will drive me crazy. Do not get me wrong.
If you let it go.
Yeah. No, I'll just fix them. There are certain things that still drive me crazy that I will fix. I will just go and fix.
Yeah.
But I let a lot more go than I used to.
Totally
I still don't let a lot of things go.
You let
I let a lot more go than I used to.
I will give you that.
But
it's good.
Yeah.
It's good for you.
Sure. But yeah, our branding agency is just they're the best fucking people. Here's the thing. Let's just make another like parallel here. Like I also want to be surrounded by in business, just like in my personal life, by people who like I want to take along with me on this ride.
Yeah.
Like Mel Robbins said in her very first podcast that she released, she had this analogy of like, where's the destination that you want to go? What's your goal? And like, who do you want in the car with you? And like the
car's not going to be big enough
for our business, not my personal life.
Personal life, we just need a mini coupe.
I'm just bringing all the people from my personal life into the business at this point.
Yeah, you are.
But yeah, it's like, who do you want in the car with you? And like, that's the really cool part about running our own business, is that we actually get to like pick and choose who's in the car with us.
Yeah.
And the people who we have in the car with us right now
fucking
are
awesome.
fucking awesome.
Really good. Yeah.
From like our actual employees to contractors, like they're just
our nurses. So awesome.
Like everybody
I know
is awesome.
Everybody is awesome.
And like nothing fuels my desire for success more than taking all of those people along with us.
Yeah.
Truly.
Oh, I know.
Like the things that I can't wait for in terms of success of this business for our employees is awesome. Anyway. So yeah, so we have our Marks and Arts, a branding agency. They're fucking awesome. You
bringing in people in your life, though, is a good segue to Louisa, our head of marketing, because we reached a point where we needed someone to just be here in-house doing marketing, and many wonderful people applied for this job. And I was sitting near Jamie in the office. We were alone, and when she gets excited, sometimes you bang on your desk, like, yeah, you're so excited, and you like started banging on your desk, and you were like, Louisa, like you had an epiphany that there's this mom that you're friends with in Southie. She's really cool. She has 3 kids. She does marketing. Her name's Louisa. You remembered her from the playground or school, whatever. I don't even know. You just had a moment.
She called me.
And you were like, she's the one.
Yeah. It's funny. I knew that about Chelsea.
I'm like, bring her in.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Bring her in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of knew that about Chelsea too. Always sort of had her in the back of my head for a job like the COO. Hannah, we were already working with, like, But yeah, I remember with Louisa, we made the decision that we needed somebody in-house. We had, put it out into the universe. And then Louisa called me when I was sitting in the office one day. And she was like, what is this? She had just gotten off the Peloton. She had seen an Instagram story or something. She was like, what is this marketing position? I was like, oh. And I made a mental note 8 months before this, right? Where I was talking to Louisa at the park. I was asking her what she did. And she's telling me about the company that she was working for and what she did. And I made a mental note. And I was like, if we ever need somebody for marketing, like, think of Louisa. And I just forgot.
Yeah.
And then she called me and I was like, oh my God, I was like, do you want this job? Like, you need to come in and interview.
Get in here right away.
And she was like, yeah. So we ended up hiring Louisa. She started in March.
So the tables are now filling.
Yeah.
I referenced.
I know. We have 2 tables that hold 4 people. We already had 6 seats filled. And it's an open office where we all sit is roughly
open floor plan.
Is what, 300 square feet, 400 square feet? It's not big.
Okay. All women.
Then we needed, with the like search for the dev team and the app, we needed like a fractional CTO. Whenever I need somebody, I go to a branding agency because I love them so much and they're great people, like, and they're well connected. I go them like if I needed a nanny at this point, I would go to them.
I hope they listen to this.
I'm kidding. They come to me for childcare. No.
I text them for dinner ideas.
So they put us in touch with this guy, Matt, who has been our fractional CTO for the last 9 months. He's actually located in Japan, but he used to live here in Massachusetts.
Really cool.
Anyway,
he's a dad.
He's awesome. So he came on, and then we finally like got back into events, which was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah.
We had to be pushed for that because we hadn't done it in a while. And we were like, our people are ready. Are people going to show up?
Yeah.
We hadn't done it in so long.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we did it. We did an in-person walk for mental health.
Yeah.
Which we'll do again this year because it was so awesome.
Yeah.
And then we did a baby safety event.
Yeah.
Which was also really fun.
Yep.
Went down to the street in Chestnut Hill.
Yeah.
And then we whipped together a grandparent in-person event at the Mandarin in Boston, which was awesome. So much fun.
So we originally did that, like the first small grandparent event when I went to New York in April. Yeah. We did it at the Hatch store there.
Yeah, you were up in New York for the Show Fields event.
Yeah, and I did it, and there were 6 grandmothers who came, and it like gave me life like I hadn't had in so long.
It's true.
I loved it so much. I always say if I didn't work with babies, I would work with the elderly. Like I actually truly love the elderly. Not that I'm calling grandparents elderly, but you know what I mean.
Oh, my mom's not listening to this. She's gonna text you, Jamie.
No, Sheila and Carol, you guys are not elderly. But you know what I mean? Like it's a population that I truly like working with. I think that I resonate with that population because it's just like they're so excited to talk about their grandkids or their future grandkids. And so it's so different than like the first time pregnant population where like maybe sometimes you're worried about the questions that you ask or what people like. Grandparents just don't fucking care.
Yeah. Also being in person with anybody like gave us both so much life again that we didn't even know was missing. Totally. We hadn't been in person for so long.
Yeah.
We all got used to this like pandemic stuff, right? 3 years of like, you know, not really going anywhere, not doing anything. Yeah. But just being with people in person and actually literally showing them something or talking with them in real life, like it just was so fun.
Yeah. So when I came back from that in April, I was like, we have to do like, I want to do, I was really, and you know, it took until October for us to actually like put it together, but I came back from that and I was like, we have to do something for grandparents. Like, not only do I love it, but it's an engaged population. It's like an underserved population in terms of like being able to provide them specific content for them as a grandparent. Like there's not a lot of resources for grandparents specific just to them.
Really.
So anyway, loved that. I mean, this feels so awkward to talk about because
I know
we're tooting our own horns here.
But I just think we'll be yelled at if we don't.
I mean, we got best places to work in 40 under 40.
That was awesome. And that is like everybody who works here like submitted for that.
I know.
We didn't even ask them to.
The best places to work was, I mean, that doesn't feel as awkward to talk about because that goes back to our team. And I'm just so grateful and proud of our nurses, our admin, our executive team. Like, I'm just proud of everybody on our team.
But that makes me so happy because one of the biggest reasons that we left the hospital was to do things differently and better than what we had experienced in terms of being like the boss that we always wished that we had and taking care of the nurses the way that we wish that we were taken care of.
Yeah, I mean, when we started, one of our core values in starting the business wasn't just about better supporting women and families. It was about like providing a better workplace for nurses.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I left the hospital once I started to feel the shift happening, which for me now was in 2015. And anybody who knows the hospital system, has worked in the hospital system, has friends who are nurses, you know that like that shift has happened. But I felt it starting to happen in 2015. And I was like, fuck this. I'm not gonna be able to make an impact in this place.
Yeah.
I can make an impact somewhere else and I can do it myself. But the only way that you can do that is if you have nurses like me, who are in a place where they actually can feel like they make an impact, where they actually do feel like they're heard, where they actually feel like one of the things that I'm most proud of, it's going to sound very counterintuitive, is when one of our nurses comes to us and they're like, hey, there's this job that I want to apply for. And I really always wanted to work in the NICU. I want to apply for this job. Like, what are your thoughts about like working in the NICU and the hospital system? Like like they'll actually come to us for advice about applying for another job.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that does not bother us.
No, that's like the beauty of nursing. You can be anything. You can change course at any time. You can grow into a new role. You can completely go back to school and learn something new too.
Totally. So like for us to get best places to work and it be a result of surveys that our employees filled out, that will bring me no greater joy. Like there would be no greater joy in an award than that.
Yeah.
Because I think that's cool.
Right. What we're 100% embarrassed to talk about.
The 40 under 40.
Is that we got 40 under 40, both of us.
I'm not embarrassed. It's just weird.
Just feel like a loser.
Casually.
Yeah. 40 under 40.
We did get it. It was cool.
That was cool. Also somebody applied for that for us too.
Yeah.
Louisa.
They made it seem like that.
You?
I mean, they made me 39 there. I didn't just eat.
Jamie was so mad they got her age wrong. They made her older than me, and I'm actually.
Only thing. No, I'm kidding. That was really fun. That was fun. It was also just fun to be at that event and see the other honorees. They had the 2021 honorees there too.
Yeah, that was cool.
And then we had a nice little gathering with a bunch of our employees that night too.
It was fun.
So yeah, that was in October, and then November we brought on.
Keep growing.
We do.
We brought on
contracted out PR with
Julie and Megan Bieber.
Yeah.
You're also the shit, Megan Bieber.
Yeah.
She came on to do social media
fully
full
took over.
time.
Yeah.
But Mackenzie still stayed. She's doing digital
all of our
assets and stuff. So.
Yep. So still growing there. We had again, like great feature on Channel 5 News. They did such a nice job.
That was the best. It's the first time that we've been on the news before. We've given hour-long interviews, and then they take like 10 seconds of what you said, and it's always so weird what they pick, in my opinion. I'm like, why that out of everything that I said?
Yeah.
And this is the first time that the news came and actually literally gave us proper airtime explaining who we are, what we do, and why it's so important.
Yeah.
Like it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
And the woman who did it is a mom, which I think is very helpful.
Katie got it.
Katie, you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was nice to feel like somebody actually, maybe it was just our delivery that time.
Katie's going to be on the podcast this year too.
Yeah.
Shortly after this episode. She's awesome.
Yeah, and then I feel like we wrapped up the year, which is kind of crazy to think about because it felt so anticlimactic when we did it, but like we did. We wrapped up, we refilmed all of the content that currently lives on Nurture. You guys,
it's over 100 videos that we refilmed and like 10 webinars.
Can we just talk about the comparison between when we first filmed it and now?
We definitely should.
You guys,
my secret meetings.
Filmed all this content. We were in the basement of our old office, which you're not supposed to be in because there's no exit.
Correct. It's like
if there's a fire at the top of the stairs, you're dead.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's remember a lawyer was like, really, you can't be down there.
Yeah. No,
storage only. We're like 100% storage only.
Storage only. As we sat down there with a desk. And then we just had a computer with a webcam and no scripts, and we would be like,
you hung a sign behind us.
I did hang a sign.
You literally nailed a sign to the wall that said Boston Naps.
I did. Yep. And we would have no scripts, and we would just sit down in front of the computer and just talk. So it'd be like, okay, today we're talking about the 4-month sleep regression, and then just talked.
Yeah.
And
talk to you about starting solids, talk to you about changing your diaper, talk to you about that,
no scripts. What we figured,
we had a plan though. You're forgetting we had a mirror. We had this giant mirror upstairs, and on the mirror we wrote up all the ages and stages, and we had Post-its. And we put Post-its on the mirror of every video that we were going to make. And every day we just take the Post-its down and record.
Yeah, no, I remember that.
It was insane.
It was crazy. This time around, we hired a videographer, Path 8 Productions. Pat, the guy who owns it, another fucking great guy.
Yeah.
Boston Naps client.
Yep.
He started off, him and his wife.
Wasn't he like, if you ever need help with your production?
When we were in that studio with the fucking whiteboard, with the fucking mirror.
Slid in
they did pre-baby boot camp, him and his wife.
Yeah.
And after that, he was like, have you ever thought about just videoing that and making it like a video class? I was like, yeah, I have, Pat. Sure have. Him and his wife are fucking awesome. Pat's the best. And so this time around, he's at this point, I don't even know how many hours of video he has of us.
Right. And the videos are like
you know what I mean?
Still us just talking, but we organize them in a scripted manner so we don't repeat ourselves.
Yeah.
Because really just when we would free talk, we would repeat ourselves a few times.
The videos were 15 minutes long when they could be 5.
Emphasize the same sentence several times. Yeah. So we were like, we need to still say what we're saying, but in a more efficient way. Yep. So a new parent can just jump on for 4 minutes.
Yep.
Instead of 14 minutes.
Like how you probably feel about our podcast.
Right now. It's happening right now in this episode.
Right now.
Yeah.
Which also brings us to we have a copywriter who we work with, Amy. She's fucking awesome.
She's the best.
She we just give her outlines of the things that we need, either written in print.
I write out. You guys should know me. I brain dump everything out of my mouth onto paper, and then I'm like, help me make this organized.
Yeah. So she helped us script everything. She's helped us write so many articles and blogs.
Yeah.
She's been amazing. And so we finished up, we scripted out all the videos.
Mm-hmm.
We had a professional videographer team. Poor Evan, Pat's help Pat's employee was the guy assigned to us, and he would just sit and listen
to us all day.
And we had everything scripted out, and we read everything off of a teleprompter.
And so we did all these over 100 videos and 10 webinars, and then
we did them in 4 days of filming.
And then we just looked at each other and we're like, so that's it. We're done.
It feels anticlimactic.
Go home now and make chicken nuggets.
It did feel anticlimactic. I think more so because I'm just waiting to realize that, like, I don't know, we forgot a whole stage or something.
We didn't even like go to dinner or like get a drink to celebrate. We were just like, okay, bye. See you tomorrow.
That was fun. See you later. We did though. We filmed a lot. It's probably, well over. We did essentially 4 8-hour days of filming.
Mm-hmm.
So wrap that up just in time for the app to be finished, the web app to be finished, and have all those videos uploaded onto it.
Yeah.
Basically just going to be like the YouTube channel for parents.
Yeah. I would say
anything you could find in video format, transcript. It's really what I'm going for here.
Yeah. You can listen, you can watch, you can do both.
Read.
You can read it.
Yeah. It's going to be good.
Whatever you feel.
Yeah. That is our year in review. It was a lot. But
if we had just sat here and been like January, February, March, hired this person, it sounds like a beautiful, perfect Instagram picture. It really does. It looks awesome. It was awesome.
It was awesome.
Don't get me wrong. It was fucking awesome. And everyone who came on is awesome.
Yep.
These events were amazing.
Yep.
But yeah.
It was fucking hard.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a team who grew more than twice as much. Anytime that you here we go again. Like, it's like transitioning from 1 kid to 2. Like, you think it's just going to be like twice as much work, and it's really not. It's like 5 times as much.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Like that.
Getting out of the house with 2 kids.
And it gets easier with well, depends on the person, right? My third was easier than my second. Like, that transition was easier. But like similar, it's gotten easier. Like, now when we onboard people, that process seems a little bit easier.
Right.
But like the first 1 or 2 people, no offense to Chelsea and Gabby.
I feel bad for them.
There is like this,
they had to figure it out.
Totally.
We didn't know how to onboard anybody. We didn't have training.
No. There was first hires that were non-nurses. Yeah. That's another, like,
I know how to train a new nurse. Yeah. What do you need to know? I can tell you what you need to know.
I don't know how to train somebody to run a business. I don't even know how to run a business.
Let me Google that.
What is the CTO?
What is the CTO? Oh my God. Remember that financial meeting? And they were like, what are your goals?
Oh my gosh. We also hired,
you need to hear
I need to tell you the story. So we did also hire okay. So one of the things I've been asking for years is like a breakdown of our revenue by service category, because if you're familiar with Maps, you know that we have a ton of service offerings, right?
Right.
And Emily and I wanted to be better about making more strategic decisions around like different services that we're offering. By like, you know, one point of this was the revenue that it brings in, right? So we've been like trying to figure out how to do this for years. We hired this accounting company, bookkeeping company, supporting strategies. It's a female founded company, female run company. The owner is amazing. The team that they assigned to us is amazing. I am like I hope that they feel the same way. I feel like I'm friends with them now. We had a boozy lunch one day. But we did our like kickoff call with this bookkeeping company, and Emily and I are on it. And Emily and I joke all the time about like finances.
Right.
And
I wasn't joking.
No, I know. I was talking about how like we went into the call. I do most of like the financial stuff, and along with Hannah, and we went into the call. I was like, Em, do you want to answer the question? She's like, yeah, this will be fun. Like truly, we went into it like that. Like, this will actually be fun.
I'll do the questions.
Like, they need to know what we're really like, right? So they come on and they're like, Linda, this woman who I'm now very friendly with, was like, so what are your financial goals? Like, what do you want out of this relationship? What did she say?
I think it was just like to make money.
Yeah. What do you want? More money. That's what it was.
She was like, what are your revenue goals? Yeah. Something like that. And I was like, more money.
It wasn't revenue goals. I think it was like, what are your goals of like this relationship?
Whatever. It was like a fucking professional question about like what we needed from our company for the year. And I was like,
more money,
please.
more money does not equal.
What do I want to do? Like generate more of what we're doing. To say it.
Like Linda and Jen, these two women who are on our team on the call, are just like, we all started dying laughing. It was so funny. I was like, Linda, did you catch that? We would like more money. Can you please help us? And
I'm like, can I go now? I gotta go call a patient.
And it was like, so can I just be clear on how this? You're paying me to just not to give you money.
I like to do that on calls, just
throw a curveball.
Really throw curveballs like that.
It was so funny.
Make sure everyone's listening.
But they did give us what we were looking for pretty quickly, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And now we have been able to like actually make some really good decisions.
Yeah.
Like this is going back to, right? Like what's working, what's not working, why not? When we were trying to make decisions before, now you and I are really good about making decisions based off of our gut and like what we think works, and like, but without having it like on paper in front of us to know which service lines bring in how much revenue and what the profit margins are on that and all of that, we were guessing. Now, albeit our guesses were right.
Right. We're just gonna say.
Like I remember Hannah, who manages our finances now, was like, how much do you think, what percentage of all of our other services besides nursing, lactation, and nurture, what percentage do you think the rest of our services make up? And I was like, threw out a number, and she was like, how the fuck did you know that? And I was off by truly like 1%. I was like 9%. She was like 11. I was like, cool.
There you go.
But really, like, I think you and I have been really good about making
How many
decisions.
private classes do you do in a month versus like group? I would like throw out a fake number too. And
or how many? Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah,
always.
Right.
But that is like, I'm going to draw one more parallel, I think, from parenting to business, and then I'll stop, is the trusting your gut.
Yeah.
Trusting our gut got us to where we are now, right now. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we only had this team and these resources and all of that starting this past year, really.
Right.
And up until then, for the first 10 years, it was about like just trusting our gut and doing what we thought was right.
Yep.
And to your point, sometimes we were off, but most of the time we were right.
Right.
And like, and there is something there.
Mm-hmm.
In business and parenting.
Yeah.
Like trust your fucking gut in anything in life, because I think that's actually what will carry you the furthest.
I feel like you're always right as a parent. You're always right.
Totally.
And if you like called it wrong, you just fix it again that next hour, or that next day.
Right.
But
I wouldn't push down that feeling of like,
no.
And the times that I have as a parent or in business are the times that I remember the most.
Right.
Not where like I made a bad call and I was wrong, but more so like
when you
where
ignored
I
it, when you ignored it.
When I pushed down that feeling and I knew it wasn't right. I like, now that I'm saying that out loud, I can literally think of like 3, 4, 5 examples in business and my personal life that just pop into my head.
Yeah.
Because I remember specifically what that felt like to not actually push back and trust my gut.
Right.
And it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And I refuse to do that.
Yeah.
Anymore.
Anytime I'm on the phone with a parent and they say to me that they're having that gut instinct, that's like really immediately when I'm like, okay, like we have to go with that. Yeah. Like you are right. You are the one there with the baby all the time. Like, Right.
You're never going to beat yourself up for trusting your gut. I can tell you that. You beat yourself up about other things, but not about trusting your gut ever. Right. Anyway, I feel like we could end with that. Next year is going to be, we're gonna give ourselves a year, people. We are.
I know. It's going to be so fun.
And I'm really excited about growing in business and my personal life so much next year in a way that really is about like being so authentic to myself and ourselves and why we started this business in the first place, and seeing where that could take us, because I think that it's easy to, as your team grows and your company grows and you have more success, I can see how it's easy to sometimes like forget about, or have moments of forgetting about like why you started or what really matters.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen often, but it happens sometimes. And it's
that happens in parenting. How did I get here?
Yeah, how did I get here? Why am I acting like this?
I'm so tired. Yeah. Why is this happening?
I keep yelling at my kids. Why do I keep doing that? Right.
Oh my God.
But I think that like being this piece of like being authentic to yourself, and authentic to what matters, and trusting your gut is actually like, is the way to go and is what is going to bring you the most happiness and success. And I think that's true in parenting.
Yep.
And life and business. So anyway, we can leave you with that.
Yeah.
Thanks for
and we're going to Orlando.
We are.
We're gonna fly on a plane and go to Orlando.
We're gonna speak in an event.
I know.
Together.
Yeah.
I mean,
so big things, fun things.
Yeah, we're gonna do a lot of fun things next year. So stay tuned. We can't wait to take you all along
on the journey.
On the party bus.
The party bus.
Not the car.
It's not a car, it's a party bus.
All right. See you again soon.